Part 69. The Strongest Assassin in the Server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 681. Most of these slaves are humans, elites, orcs from the lower world, at least from the sanctuary. Of course there are also some lower gods. These slaves were tortured so miserably that they seemed to have only half their lives left. Everyone had collars hanging around their necks, and they were kneeling on the ground, crawling like dogs, being led by the demon soldier executive. Watching Yuchen walking by, all the slaves had red eyes, gnashing teeth, and full of resentment. Of course, they are not targeting Yuchen alone, but are full of hatred for all demons. Yuchen felt that they were pitiful, so he couldn't help but stop and look at them twice. Unexpectedly, he made the demon soldier executive dissatisfied. "What are you looking at? If you have the ability to catch slaves yourself, if you covet my slaves, be careful I beat you to death." The demon soldier executive glanced at Yuchen with disdain and snorted coldly. His face is full of contempt and aloofness, and this is what the tribe is like. They are naturally cruel and will devour even their compatriots when they get anxious. Yuchen didn't want to cause trouble, so he hummed, turned around and left. But his contemptuous attitude made the demon soldier executive furious. He slapped his long whip on the ground with a pop sound, causing a crack in the stone slab on the ground. If this whip were struck on a slave, I don't know what it would feel like. No wonder those slaves were covered with scars as thick as a whip. Unfamiliar face, are you a newly born demon soldier? It seems that you still don't understand the rules of our demon realm. Kneel down and take 10 lashes from me. If you survive, I will spare your life, the demon soldier executive said firmly. Looking at Yuchen's back, he sneered. He seemed to have foreseen Yuchen kneeling down to him and begging for mercy. Yuchen turned his back to him, and his eyes became sharp for a moment. Without him taking action at all, Xiaohei ran out like a madman, and with a pop sound, he slapped the demon soldier executive hard, even though he had demon muscles. The tissue was strong, and the right side of his face was still red and swollen from being slapped by Xiaohei, and even 3 teeth were knocked out. Yuchen turned around, kneel down, kowtow to me 10 times, and leave your body intact. Yuchen's dark golden eyes stared at the demon soldier executive, cold, ruthless, and overflowing with domineering power, which made the latter a little timid. Damn it, I am a high-level magic soldier who has mastered the 5 laws. If you dare to hit me, you are seeking death. The top demon soldier was stunned for a second and then became furious. Die. Yuchen's eyes turned cold, and he rushed out fiercely. The sharp dragon's kiss flashed with an icy cold light, and he cut off the head of the demon soldier executive with a knife. The demon's head separated from the body and fell to the ground, quickly losing its vitality. Together with the headless body, it shriveled and shrank, and blue blood flowed out from the wound. The 5 laws are advanced magic weapons. What a fart! Yuchen is a god and devil who masters nearly 20 laws. On the god side, he is full of believers and full of the power of faith. On the devil side, he is born with the ultimate law. Double it. Coupled with Xiaohei and Blood Tree, the weight is doubled. I don't know how many times more powerful than that demon soldier executive. After killing the demon soldier executive with 1 sword, Yuchen just smiled coldly. Immediately he lowered his eyes and glanced at the corpse, and his heart trembled, as if the spring breeze was blowing. Yuchen felt itchy and unbearable. Looking at the corpse of the demon and the blue blood, Yuchen couldn't help feeling greedy and hungry. I can't wait to pounce down, devour the demon corpses, and add all the blood. It's not Yuchen's fault, it's the demon's instinctive drive. Demons are naturally cruel and like to devour their own kind in order to strengthen their magic power. After reaching a certain level, the realm will also increase accordingly. The demon race itself is a race that kills each other. If you don't kill him, he will kill you. Gilug gilug. Suddenly, the sound of swallowing was heard all around. Yechen raised his eyes and looked around, only to see a group of demon soldiers gathered around on the street. They all stared at the corpse with red eyes. What's more, saliva gushed down like an open faucet. It was simply extremely dirty. Perhaps due to Yechen's strength, the demonic soldiers did not dare to take action, but their bodies did move forward instinctively. Haha, it turns out this is the demon realm. Yechen laughed wildly, feeling suddenly enlightened and free and wanton as the sky was high and the sea was vast, allowing me to swim. It turns out that the demon realm can kill each other and no one cares about it. Fortunately, Yechen was still cautious and prepared to act according to the opportunity. In this way, he can completely kill everyone. As his level increases step by step, he will naturally have the opportunity to see the demon emperor and kill him. With this thought, Yechen stopped holding back and began to slaughter crazily, using his powerful combat power to sweep across a large area. A street was slaughtered and corpses were strewn everywhere. Every corpse and the blue blood that gathered into a river had a fatal attraction for Yechen. But Yechen was still able to control himself and not do the dirty thing of devouring corpses. Yechen is a god and demon who have the characteristics of a god. Killing demons and naturally gaining divine power is enough. This divine power is not that divine power. It cannot improve combat power, it can only accumulate to improve one's realm. To a certain extent, it is equivalent to the experience points required for upgrading. Evil, devil, such a cruel devil. The slaves looked at the streets littered with corpses and were so frightened that they didn't even dare to move. You go, I don't want to kill you. Yechen waved his hand and walked away, leaving only a group of slaves, who were stunned and speechless. Such a cruel demon, slaughtering his fellows, would actually let them go. 3 days passed in a flash, and Yechen swept all the way, slaughtering dozens of streets in the demon realm. Because he was unwilling to devour the corpses of the demons, his realm was slowly improved, but after 2 days, he also reached the realm of the intermediate demon god. This realm is equivalent to the middle-level god and demon general. Of course, Yechen is a demon god, invincible at the same level, enough to crush the middle-level god or demon general, and even the general upper-level god and demon king. Yechen can also kill. John, you wait, it won't be long before I will make you lose convincingly. Yechen smiled slightly, and a strong confidence surged. In the evening, Yechen went offline and went to the restaurant downstairs to have a casual dinner. And asked someone to cook a bowl of nutritious porridge. Yechen carried the insulated box and walked to the hospital. When he saw Xiaoro again, the latter's complexion was obviously much better, and she no longer needed to be infused with nutrient solution, but could eat some liquid food such as porridge, which was more conducive to the recovery of the wound. Of course, she was not yet able to do it herself and needed someone to feed her. After all, she was too seriously injured and it was a miracle that she didn't die. Because of the earthquake, Yun Qian'er wasted a lot of time. Her first job fell through, and she was not in a hurry to return home. Instead, she helped Yechen take care of Xiaoro. In the past few days, when Yechen was fighting in the game, Yun Qian'er took care of Xiaoro. After a few days, the two of them were like sisters. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 682. Yechen came in with the insulated box, and Yun Qian'er left on her own accord. Yechen, Xiaoro, and Yun Qian'er all had a certain emotional foundation, but the three of them appeared at the same time, which was more or less a little alienated and awkward. Some things must be explained one-on-one. Yechen was very touched by Yun Qian'er's cooperation. In the ward, only Yechen and Xiaoro were left. Xiaoro's pretty face quickly turned red, making the atmosphere seem a little ambiguous and charming. Yechen sat down on the bench, opened the insulated box, took out the nutritious porridge, and fed Xiaoro a small spoonful at a time. The porridge was still very hot, and before feeding it to her every time, Yechen would blow a breath to artificially cool it down. Xiaoro drank it in small sips, elegant and ladylike. Her little face had already turned red as blood, adding a touching shyness. Dong, dong, dong. Xiaoro's heart was beating like a deer, and her fullness rose and fell with it. It was so big that it seemed to burst the neckline, and it was so beautiful that it was beyond description. In fact, Ye Chen hadn't come these days, and Yun Qian'er had taken care of Xiaoro in the same way, but men and women are completely different. What's more, Ye Chen was the man Xiaoro loved the most. Ye Chen's face was as thick as a city wall. He was admiring Xiaoro's shy beauty, and he lost his mind and accidentally spilled a small spoonful of porridge on Xiaoro's chest. Xiaoro's face became even redder. "Ah, I'm sorry, senior sister." Ye Chen smiled awkwardly, turned around and took out a tissue to help Xiaoro wipe it. At the moment when Ye Chen turned around, Xiaoro bit her red lips with her pearly teeth, and seemed to have mustered up a lot of courage before she whispered, "Ye Chen, I want to be with you. I can be without a name." The voice was as soft as a mosquito. But Ye Chen still heard it, and his heart trembled. He knew that Senior Xiaoro loved him deeply and could give up everything for her, even her life and dignity. "Don't say it, senior sister, I owe you too much. No matter what, I will give you a grand wedding." Ye Chen took out a tissue and wiped Xiaoro's chest while saying seriously. Even in this era, China does not allow polygamy, which means that in name, Ye Chen can only have one wife. But Ye Chen has decided that neither Xiaoro nor Yun Qian'er can be missing at the wedding. Xiaoro does not want a name, so Ye Chen can only try to make up for it in this regard. When there is a baby in the future, Ye Chen will also solve the household registration problem. With Ye Chen's worth and status, this kind of thing is a piece of cake. Ye Chen is very patient and feeds a bowl of porridge for more than 10 minutes. Before leaving, because Xiaoro was bedridden and had no power to resist, Ye Chen took advantage of the situation and kissed Xiaoro on the cheek. Looking at the latter's face flushed with shyness, Ye Chen smiled, and a strong sense of satisfaction and happiness rose in his heart. 2 wives, this is not a joke, the man must be thick-skinned. Ye Chen seemed to have made up his mind, he could ignore everything else, and first practiced his thick skin. Online again, a white light flashed, and Ye Chen appeared in the demon realm. The demon realm is divided into 12 areas, each of which is ruled by a great demon king. The realm of the demon clan is divided into demon soldiers, demon generals, demon kings, great demon kings, and demon emperors. The demon king is at the same level as the upper gods. Because of the special nature of the demon clan, the demon king can often crush the upper gods. And the great demon king is very special. In fact, the great demon king is not a realm, but a position, a symbol of identity. The realm of the great demon king is actually the demon king, but he has mastered too many laws, at least more than 30 kinds, which is equivalent to the perfection of the law, so they are very terrible, enough to crush the demon king. There are 12 such beings in the demon realm, so there is a saying of 12 great demon kings. Ye Chen is currently in the middle of Area 1, where there are a lot of demon soldiers and demon generals. Ye Chen looked disdainful and continued to slaughter. No matter whether it was demon soldiers or demon generals, none of them were his opponents. Ye Chen looked at the corpses of demons and fresh demon blood all over the ground, but he kept his bottom line and refused to devour the corpses. But he didn't want to waste it, so he summoned Dowdy to devour the corpses. At the same time, Ye Chen teamed up with the blood tree and used team teleportation to force the blood tree over. The blood tree absorbed the demon blood, and the Dowdy devoured the corpses. The blood tree and the Dowdy were set not to surpass the master Ye Chen in terms of level, but there was no limit in terms of realm. The blood tree and the Dowdy improved their realm very quickly. In just one day, they ran ahead of Ye Chen and became upper-level beasts. Because they refined countless demon cores, they mastered many new laws. Generally, gods and beasts dare not refine magic cores, as they may explode and die. If it were Xiao Jin and Xiao Hong, they would not dare to refine magic cores, but the blood tree and the gluttonous beasts are monsters themselves, and they can completely refine magic cores. A few days later, Ye Chen, together with the blood tree and the gluttonous beasts, slaughtered countless demons, including many demon kings. A large number of magic cores exploded. The magic core, like the Godhead, contains the origin law. Ye Chen also refined some magic cores containing rare laws. Now, at the level of the intermediate demon god, he has mastered more than 30 laws. As long as he reaches the level of the advanced demon god, he can even crush the great demon king. Boom! Just as Ye Chen approached the palace of the great demon king in Area 1, there was a sudden explosion, and the magnificent palace was torn apart, and two figures soared into the sky. One person was completely black, with wings on his back, and he was the great demon king of Area 1. The other person was actually Sun Yang. Dai, the great demon king of Area 1 laughed grimly, raised his hand and condensed an overwhelming magic power, and smashed it towards Sun Yang. The magic power actually contained the supreme law of destruction. There are only 4 known supreme laws at present, namely, the law of time, the law of space, the law of life, and the law of destruction. The law of life is a bit useless, but the other 3 supreme laws are extremely terrifying. If you get one of them, your combat power will increase exponentially. I saw that the magic power containing the law of destruction enveloped Sun Yang, who fell apart, turned into countless energy molecules and dissipated, and was killed in seconds without leaving any residue. Seeing this, Ye Chen suddenly had a new understanding of the great demon king. He is really worthy of being the great demon king, and he can actually master the supreme law. Humph, a mere upper god dares to assassinate me, you really overestimate your own abilities. The great demon king of Area 1 killed Sun Yang in an instant and smiled coldly. His words were full of disdain for the so-called upper gods. But at this moment, the space behind the great demon king of Area 1 suddenly fluctuated, and Sun Yang suddenly appeared behind him. 7-star ultimate kill. Magic skill, blood explosion. The next moment, Sun Yang ran like lightning, drawing a 7-star formation around the great demon king of Area 1. Every time the flash flashed, the great demon king of Area 1 would have a deep scar on his body that could be seen to the bone, and exploded, causing him to suffer more injuries. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, Ba Wang Shi-san. Chapter 683. Sun Yang's damage is very high. A round of 7-star ultimate kills plus passive blood explosion knocked down 1/10 of the health of the great demon king in Zone 1. Impossible, you didn't die after taking a blow from me, the great demon king reacted and questioned Sun Yang in a cold voice. He is dead, but he is just a clone of God. You idiot, you can't even dream that the one who provoked and assassinated you from the beginning was a clone, but I have been waiting here. Sun Yang smiled coldly, suppressing the great demon king in terms of IQ. Noisy. Trash is trash, you can only play tricks. The great demon king roared, and once again made a move to condense magic power and blasted towards Sun Yang. But at this moment, the blood tree made a move, stretched out countless tentacled branches, bound the great demon king, and made him unable to move, and naturally his move was broken. Sun Yang thus saved his life. At the same time, Ye Chen rushed out, and Ye Chen's sharp dragon kiss cut the throat of the great demon king with one knife, and the demon blood gushed out like a fountain. The dragon kiss attacks the new target, 100% armor penetration, but Ye Chen, an intermediate demon god, is not the limit of armor penetration when attacking the great demon king. Next, Ye Chen attacked frantically, and the damage was not great. At this time, the great demon king's magic power leaked out, and the dark magic power containing the law of destruction surged out of his body. That kind of magic power, if it was slightly contaminated with the branches of the blood tree, it would be able to disintegrate it, destroy it into energy molecules, dissipated between heaven and earth. Those branches were all part of the blood tree's body. At this moment, they were destroyed, and the blood tree immediately let out a heart-wrenching scream. Seeing that the great demon king was about to get out of control, Sun Yang just reacted and exclaimed, "Yeshen!" He couldn't believe that Yechen had turned into a demon. "Quickly put an end to him," Yechen roared. His dragon kiss armor breaking, even though it was not the ultimate armor breaking, was still useful. It was only because his realm was too low that he could not cause greater damage to the great demon king. It would be different if it was Sun Yang. Oh! Sun Yang did not dare to neglect it. He roared, and a shadow of a poisonous dragon appeared behind him. As Sun Yang moved, the poisonous dragon also roared out, and finally opened its bloody mouth, revealing sharp and poisonous teeth, and bit the great demon king. -9999999999999. The damage was off the charts. The maximum calculation unit of Dream World only reached King. Once the damage exceeded 9999 King, it could not be fully realized. Under Yechen's armor breaking, Sun Yang broke this limit, and the whole screen was 999. It was dazzling. However, the damage could not be fully displayed, but the blood bar could be displayed. The blood bar of the great demon king dropped to the bottom, the blood tank was empty, and he fell directly. Yechen was not surprised at all by such a situation. Sun Yang is a high-level god, mastering more than 30 laws, and has 100 million followers. In terms of realm, he is no worse than the great demon king, only because the great demon king in this area masters the law of destruction. In a one-on-one fight, Sun Yang will not get any sweetness. But with the control of the blood tree and Yechen's armor breaking, Sun Yang killed the great demon king in one move, which is too normal. As the great demon king of Area 1 fell, a surge of monstrous magic power surged, which was absorbed by Yechen and Sun Yang respectively. In an instant, Yechen broke through the bottleneck and reached the realm of high-level demon god. In just a blink of an eye, Yechen's attributes skyrocketed dozens of times, completely surpassing Sun Yang, or all the great demon kings. "Boss Yechen, have you turned into a demon?" Sun Yang asked in astonishment. "Well, to be precise, it's a demon god." Yechen did not hide it from Sun Yang and told him the truth. Next, Yechen showed his terrifying strength, which made Sun Yang's scalp numb. The demon god, at the same stage, is twice as strong as the strongest gods and demons. With the feedback power of the blood tree and Xiaohe, Yechen is now terribly strong. Even if he fights John now, Yechen is confident that he can beat John like a dog. Of course, Yechen is not in a hurry. He will reach the Emperor realm first. John will feel desperate at that time. "Thief god, come with me and turn this demon realm upside down." Yechen waved his hand and left the first area with Sun Yang, the blood tree, and Daodi, heading towards other areas of the demon realm. In the next few days, Yechen and Sun Yang traveled together, killing several great demon kings in a row, and forced the location of the demon emperor. There was a huge demon gas in the sky above the center of the demon realm. The demon gas seemed to have condensed into a demon barrier, blocking the line of sight. People outside could not see the things in the demon barrier at all. In the demon barrier, there was a young man with disheveled hair, sitting alone. If this group of demonic obstacles is likened to a sphere, then the young man is meditating at the center of the sphere. The upper hemisphere is empty. If there is anything, it is the thick blood mist that cannot be dissolved. The lower hemisphere is filled with a sea of corpses. The young man sat suspended above the sea of corpses, and countless blood lights shot up into the sky, surrounding the young man and healing his injuries. This young man is none other than the demon emperor. He ordered the 12 great demon kings to deliver a batch of corpses every day at a fixed time. Now, his injuries have recovered. What's going on? Those little bastards haven't delivered fresh corpses for several days. Are they all dead? The Demon Emperor opened his eyes, all black, without a trace of white, and looked extremely evil. In the entire demon realm, the only one who can call the great demon king a little bastard is the Demon Emperor. He cursed casually to express his dissatisfaction, but how could he have thought, he accidentally said it right, because the 12 great demon kings were really dead. Suddenly, the barrier of the devil broke open a hole, and 2 people and 2 beasts walked in slowly. It was Ye Chen, Sun Yang, Xueshu, and Daodi. The Demon Emperor looked over intently, thinking that a great demon king had come to pay tribute, but the faces that came were all unfamiliar. There was actually a higher god. Oh, that's right, the realm of the Demon King, mastering more than 30 laws. It seems that there is another great demon king in my demon domain. Haha. Good, the Demon Emperor glanced at Ye Chen and was a little happy. The Demon Emperor was the first generation of the Demon Emperor, and could be said to be the ancestor of all demons. Although he was bloodthirsty, he was still very pleased that a great demon king was born among his descendants. At worst, eating the great demon king can also speed up his recovery. Ye Chen? Humph, a dignified great demon king actually chose such a name. Forget it, you just became a great demon king, and you know how to pay tribute to this emperor. You are a teachable child, a teachable child. This emperor will not blame you for choosing such an ugly name. The Demon Emperor looked at Ye Chen and said with a smile. He looked like a young man, but his tone was full of vicissitudes. It was no wonder. As the ancestor of the demon clan, he didn't know how many years he had lived and was proficient in the art of transformation. He just changed into a pleasing skin. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 684. Pay tribute. No, you misunderstood. I'm here to kill you today. Ye Chen smiled slightly. Kill me. The Demon Emperor's eyes were fierce, and he locked onto Ye Chen with a very vicious look. As a demon, you are the descendant of this emperor. Why, relying on your own talent, you want to bully your master and destroy your ancestors? Who said I'm a demon? Ye Chen snorted coldly. Now that he came here, he was completely fearless and wanted to let this demon emperor die clearly. Immediately, Ye Chen lifted the demon state and no longer deliberately restrained his divine power. At this moment, Ye Chen was surrounded by divine light and demonic energy spread. The 2 incompatible characteristics of gods and demons actually appeared on one person at the same time, but there was no contradiction, and it seemed to be coordinated. Witnessing the changes in Ye Chen, the Demon Emperor was shocked and couldn't help but gasp. He was not an ordinary person. Naturally, he knew the legend of the demon god. That kind of existence was absolutely invincible at the same level. It's a pity that Ye Chen's current realm is too low, only at the realm of high-level demon god, not at the realm of emperor. In this way, Ye Chen is no match for his demon emperor. Ha ha ha. After a brief shock and panic, the demon emperor suddenly laughed wildly, his laughter full of ecstasy, teasing, and hysteria. Tisk tisk, demon god. I didn't expect that there really is such a legendary existence in the world. Boy, you are simply blessed by nature, sweeping wildly and invincible. When you are fully grown and reach the realm of emperor, even this emperor will not be your opponent. It's a pity that you are too anxious and too stupid. The demon emperor talked freely, his long black hair moved without wind, like a madman, showing his hideousness. Now your wings are not yet fully grown, you are eager to die. Well, then this emperor will fulfill your wish. Haha, a generation of demon god, actually fell in the hands of this emperor. Cool. Sad. The violent momentum of the demon emperor came, but Sun Yang just shook his head and smiled, showing his irony. He knew that since Ye Chen had come, he must have been well prepared. The time storm must have cooled down. Back then, in the world competition of the International Championship, Ye Chen, with a mere lower god realm, could use the time storm to become a god emperor in a short time. Now, Ye Chen is a high-level demon god. If he uses the time storm, what realm will he reach? I dare not even think about it. Not yet fully grown? Haha, if I kill you, I will naturally reach the emperor realm and my wings will naturally be fully grown. Ye Chen smiled coldly. How dare you? There is a huge gap between your realm and this emperor's. How can you kill this emperor? The demon emperor asked coldly. Time storm. Ye Chen did not answer, but directly used the time storm, and a terrifying black tornado burst out from his body. The moment the black tornado was generated, it crushed the entire demon barrier to pieces, and the endless sea of corpses and blood under his feet also disappeared. The demon emperor was shocked and did not dare to neglect. He attacked the black tornado repeatedly. However, all his attacks were crushed by the black tornado and had no effect at all. 3 seconds later, the black tornado disappeared, and Ye Chen stood proudly above the sky. Emperor realm. Give up, demon emperor. I don't think you want to see the entire demon realm destroyed because of you, Ye Chen said calmly. With a move of his body, he came to the demon emperor at a speed that was almost like teleportation. The sharp dragon kiss seemed to be placed on the demon emperor's shoulder. The demon emperor's face was covered with dense cold sweat, which flowed to his chin, like a tap turned on, and fell down. The current Ye Chen gave him a feeling that disobedience was absolutely not allowed. No. No, I can't die, this emperor will not die. The demon emperor was hysterical and turned to run away. As he took a step, the scene changed and he came to the prehistoric universe. With a zi sound, the space in front of the demon emperor cracked, leaking out the space turbulence of thunder and fire, and the demon emperor rushed straight into the turbulence. The next moment, he came out of the space turbulence again, and actually crossed billions of stars. This is the law of space, and it is the emperor realm, the top space law. The demon emperor took a heavy breath, and his face looked a little better. Using the power of the space law, he had already escaped far enough. He didn't believe that Ye Chen could catch up. However, at this moment, a crack suddenly appeared in the void where the demon emperor was heading, and Ye Chen walked out slowly. Die. Age, this emperor will make you live a life worse than death. The demon emperor seemed to collapse, and used the law of time again, trying to turn Ye Chen into a withered old man. It's a pity that his law of time has no effect on Ye Chen. Because the space law and time law of the demon emperor are not as strong as Ye Chen, this is the horror of the demon god. Devil, devil. The psychological defense of the demon emperor completely collapsed, and he cried helplessly. Okay, go ahead. With a flash of light, Ye Chen suddenly appeared in front of the demon emperor, stretched out his right hand and placed it on the demon emperor's shoulder. The demon emperor's body was shattered inch by inch, disintegrated, and turned into endless energy molecules, Zayashikam floating in the vast universe. The scene returned to the sky above the demon realm. Ye Chen cancelled the time storm and reappeared beside Sun Yang, Xueshu, and Daodi. Around them, there was a thick blood mist, as well as vast magic power, and countless equipment, gold coins, and materials. The vast magic power was absorbed by Ye Chen and Sun Yang, and the two arrived at the Emperor realm one after the other. The blood tree bathed in the blood of the demon emperor and also arrived at the Emperor realm. Only Daodi remained unchanged, because the body of the demon emperor was shattered. Swish! Ye Chen rushed out and grabbed the falling magic core with one hand. This was the demon emperor's magic core. Ye Chen swallowed it without hesitation. System, congratulations on refining the demon emperor's magic core and successfully mastering the laws of destruction, time, space, and life. The system prompt sounded, and Ye Chen smiled slightly, feeling a violent power surging all over his body. The Demon Emperor was indeed powerful, and he actually mastered 4 supreme laws at the same time. Now it was a bargain for Ye Chen. The current Ye Chen was almost the same as Ye Shen in the Time Storm state just now. Thief God, my gaming career has finally come to an end. Ye Chen sighed sadly with an inexplicable feeling. He knew that he was invincible and could not find an opponent at all, so the game was no longer fun. Quitting the game world was the best choice. He had experienced a lot in the past 6 months, and now he was finally going to quit, and he was quite reluctant in his heart. Well, congratulations on your graduation, Sun Yang smiled. He can be said to be the one closest to Ye Chen, so he naturally understands Ye Chen's current mood. However, before you really graduate, you still have to fight John and get the title of the strongest assassin in the server. Well, that's the motivation for me to persevere all the way. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 685. At the same time, John carried the divine sword on his back and set foot on the divine realm, fighting his way to the top of the divine emperor's tower. John, what do you want to do? The 5 emperors stared at John's blood-stained sword, narrowed their eyes, and asked coldly. Kill you? John smiled lightly. How presumptuous. I'm a member of the God clan, you want to kill each other. Besides, you have already reached the realm of the God Emperor. Even if you kill us old bones, you won't make any progress. The Dragon Emperor was angry at first, but then he saw John's expression showed no change. He suddenly panicked and began to persuade him in a low voice. If they were in their heyday, how could they be so humble? But they were seriously injured and their combat effectiveness was at a loss, so they had to plead in low voices. It will improve. I need your godhood. John smiled conspiratorially, and immediately, his figure galloped out like lightning, and at the same time, the scene changed and he came to the prehistoric universe. Taiwan Novel Network. Rightward arrow. Diamond suit. Diamond suit. As the divine sword in John's hand was swung, the light and shadow of the sword flashed, and a harsh buzzing sound was heard, which exploded the stars one after another, causing the 5 emperors to scream in horror and grief, and they fell one after another. More than 10 days ago, the 5 emperors were injured by Ye Chen and were seriously injured, as if they were on the verge of death. And they didn't have the recovery methods like the Demon Emperor. They were still in a state of near death at this moment. They had no power to fight back against John, and they naturally fell into John's hands. A few seconds later, the scene returned to the top of the God Emperor Tower. The 5 emperors seemed to have fallen, and countless equipment, gold coins, and materials were piled up like mountains. John stretched out his hand, and 5 dazzling gods flew into his hands. John smiled coldly, stuffed them into his mouth one by one, refined them, and successively mastered the law of destruction, the law of life, the law of time, and the law of space. The rules are almost perfect. With the supreme law in hand, the next step is the power of faith. John frowned slightly. The God Emperor can recruit up to 10 billion believers. This number is too large. The total number of players in the entire server is less than 3 billion. Even the supreme law of life cannot create so many creatures. The God Emperor used the law of life to create up to 1 billion living beings, which was far from enough. It doesn't matter. With my current strength, how can Ye Chen fight with me? John laughed wildly, with confidence on his face. He didn't know it yet, but Ye Chen was a demon god and had already reached the imperial realm. Compared with he is countless times more powerful. Let's make a fight, Ye Chen. Set a time and don't run away. As his strength skyrocketed, John seemed to swell. He even activated the world broadcast and declared war on Ye Chen. I was just looking for you. See you in the central part of Wanghai in 3 days. Ye Chen also checked the world broadcast to respond. The world broadcast exploded. John was shocked. 3 days. World broadcasting, initiator, John/American War Zone, 3 days. Could it be said that you have also reached the Imperial Realm? Or, do you want to use Time Storm again? John can't confirm it. More than 10 days ago, in the World Championship of the International Championship, Ye Chen was only a lower god, but now he has reached the Imperial Realm. It's simply impossible. World Broadcasting, Initiator, Yashin/China Warzone, haha, don't worry, I won't use that skill. Ye Chen replied and couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. Now he has reached the limit of the current version of Dream World. Even if he uses Time Storm, his attributes will not be improved at all. Unless, wait until Dream World is revised, increase the level limit, and continue to open new maps. After finishing the broadcast, Ye Chen went offline to rest. He didn't care about the duel 3 days later because he couldn't lose. On the other side, John seemed a little anxious. Suddenly, an idea came to his mind. When he opened the task list, he was startled. When he was promoted to God Emperor, he also received the main mission Demon Subduing Order, kill the Demon Emperor, but now, this mission has disappeared. It seems that Ye Chen completed that task and became the God Emperor. Tisk tisk, he really has 2 skills. John suddenly became excited. The more powerful Ye Chen was, the more excited he became. Because only in this way can he show his strength and be admired by fans. In the next 3 days, he did not dare to rest and continued to expand his power, not only targeting all players in the server, but also NPCs. He is the God Emperor, not only in terms of realm, but also in the position of the God realm. He is also the God Emperor. Call the gods to help him preach. Spread the faith. He wants to maximize the power of faith to the limit. For 3 days, Ye Chen was resting and John was working hard. And all the players in the server, and even the media in real life, were stirred up by it. Troopers from all walks of life rushed to tell each other, and the forums, post bars, etc. were all maxed out. They all revealed a message, that is, Ye Chen and John were going to have a decisive battle to compete for the title of the strongest in the server. 3 days finally passed. In the middle of Wanghai, countless high-end players stood in the sky, forming a faint circle around Zhejiang.c. Some of them turned on the video recording function that comes with the game and conducted live broadcasts. For ordinary players around the world to watch the battle remotely. John is here. Suddenly, there was a stir in the scene, and John came out of the air and made a shining appearance, which attracted a burst of cheers from the audience. Grandma, John will definitely win this duel. Ye Chen hasn't been online for the past 3 days. I guess he doesn't dare to come. Yes, John has been commanding the gods to help him spread his followers in the past 3 days, and he has even reached out to the NPCs. He is at the level of God Emperor, and I heard that he has 10 billion followers. So what? Since Ye Chen dared to agree, are you afraid that he won't come? People of their level can lose face like this. There was a commotion at the scene, and everyone had their own supporters. They didn't wait for long. After a moment, Ye Chen broke through the air and came, accompanied by Sun Yang and Xueshu. Of course, Xueshu is now in human form, dressed in white, and looks like a young man. When the 3 of them came like this, the surrounding space was filled with dense and vast divine power, which made everyone present sweat like rain and shudder. Emperor Realm. All 3 of them are Emperor Realm. John carried the divine sword on his back, his hands on his chest, and his sharp eyes like a knife swept through the 3 people one by one, his face gloomy. Tisk, the thief god has also reached the realm. John snorted, and then his eyes passed by Ye Chen and Sun Yang, and stayed on the blood tree. His powerful recognition and perception were activated, allowing John to see the shadow of the god tree behind the blood tree. The god tree seemed to grow in the prehistoric universe, and its size was so huge that it was larger than a star. Is it Ye Shen's pet? A mere pet has actually reached the Emperor realm. John became more and more nervous. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The strongest assassin in the server. Author, B.A. Wang Shi-san. Chapter 686. Humph, Yeshen, it's a duel, do you want 3 against 1 now? John asked coldly. Oh, how is that possible? God of thieves, blood tree, please step back. Yuchen chuckled lightly, and Sun Yang and Shueshu retreated to the outer circle, leaving an open space. Bloody blade. With a zi sound, the dragon kiss in Yuchen's hand was covered with a layer of blood and doubled in size. The dragon kiss rotated on the fingertips, dancing into brilliant blood flowers. Yuchen smiled slightly and said, how about it, can we start? Chiang. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. The divine sword was unsheathed, and a harsh roar sounded, and the battle horn sounded. I saw John pull out the divine sword and attack Yuchen with force like an army. As he walked, the scene changed, taking him, Yuchen, and all the audience present to the wild universe. With one step across a star, the sharp sword light illuminated everyone's eyes. Bang bang bang. In one breath, John slashed Yuchen with hundreds of knives, the sky shattered and the earth exploded, the stars exploded, countless sword lights and sword shadows were dazzling. At the same time, Yuchen was passively injured, and his indestructible body was activated, ejecting a series of shock waves that shattered countless stars in the universe. Even the people watching the battle were reduced to ashes in seconds. The liveliness is not so good to watch. Fearless people like them dare to watch the duel between 2 emperors. It is simply boring. Awe screams spread everywhere, and countless spectators quickly fell away. Of course, Sun Yang, Shueshu, even Jian Wuhan, Shang Wang, Lan Yan, Tank, and others, and even high-end players in the Chinese theater, were not harmed. Because Yuchen represents the throne and has an alliance with them, he will not target them unconsciously. Brothers who are videotaping, don't stop. Now that there are fewer viewers, we should record the video and make the result of this duel public, King Shang, Sun Yang, and others shouted loudly amidst the light of fire and thunder. -1. -1. -1. -1. -1. John's speed was so fast that ordinary people could not imagine it. He slashed Yuchen hundreds of times in 1 second, and hundreds of injuries appeared above Yuchen's head. However, John could not break through Yuchen's defense. Instead, the shock wave from Yuchen shocked John to death. Although John is not dead, his HP has dropped by more than half. Impossible. How could this happen? How could this happen? John was shaken by the shock wave, his clothes were disheveled, his hair was disheveled, and he had no image at all. His face was full of madness, as well as a trace of horror and disbelief. Both are divine emperors. Although John does not have 10 billion believers as rumored, he still has more than 5 billion believers. He couldn't believe that he couldn't break through Yuchen's defense. John, I am neither the God Emperor nor the Demon Emperor. Because I am the same body as God and Demon, sometimes 1 + 1 is more than equal to 2. To be honest, you are no match for me at all. Yuchen smiled slightly. However, Yuchen's smile was like thunder exploding in John's heart. For a moment, John was out of his mind. John, to be honest, I'm happy to have such a strong opponent like you throughout my gaming career. Yuchen's words made John startled. Then, with a sharp look in his eyes, Yuchen activated the law of destruction to the extreme and cut it off with 1 strike. Billions of stars exploded one after another and turned into powder, and John fell with him. There was a flash of white light, and the scene returned to the sky above the middle of Wanghai. Apart from the audience, Yuchen was the only one left on the battlefield. Roar. The results are out, Yagami won. The high-ranking players present roared in unison, and at the same time, numerous live broadcast rooms filled the screen with barrage. All players in the server cheered, thus establishing Yuchin's title as the strongest assassin in the server. A month and a half passed in a hurry, and the World Championship of Contest of Martial Arts officially started. In each major region, all the top 8 players in the national competition are eligible to participate. Ye Chen represented the Chinese theater and won the World Championship again. It is not a team competition, but an individual competition. Ye Chen winning this World Championship has extremely high gold content. Dream World officially recognized Ye Chen as the strongest player in the entire server. Since that day, Ye Chen personally has received numerous invitations from Capital, either to shoot GG or to endorse products. Ye Chen refused them all. After more than 2 months of training, Xiaoro's injuries initially recovered, and Ye Chen returned home smoothly with the 2 girls. Fulfill the original promise and invite many friends to have a big dinner. Next, Ye Chen gradually faded out of the game, and instead transformed and founded a professional club. Xiaoro and Yun Qianer also began to pursue their own careers. Time flies, and 5 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Dream World is still in full swing and dominates the gaming field. Dream World finally opened a new level cap, and at the same time opened an alien map, called Universe 11. In the past 5 years, countless newcomers have emerged, and the waves behind the Yangtze River push the waves ahead. Some newcomers are over 200 levels, and their combat power is off the charts. But the legendary myth of Ye Chen Chuangxia still exists, which makes people admired. Although Ye Chen is rarely online, the blood tree seems to have extended its branches to the 11 universe, which is breathtaking. Ye Chen, who turned 24 years old, had already resigned from the position of general manager of the club, and instead became the boss behind the scenes. He did nothing every day, like traveling and fishing. One day, Ye Chen, dressed in casual clothes, rushed into the general manager's office of his club. "Chairman, I really can't go fishing with you today." Monkey pushed up his glasses and said with a wry smile, "I promised Kikai that I will go on a date with her today." "What the hell, Monkey, don't do this to me, let's go. Tank and Fatty are here today. You take Kikai with you, so as not to delay the date." Ye Chen scolded with a smile, pulled Monkey up and walked out. Run. Or a street food stall. Ye Chen, Tank, Monkey, and Fatty, the 4 of them gathered around a table, enjoying beer, tripe, and seafood. Looking back on the past, among the 4 brothers, Ye Chen had the best life and had 2 wives. The monkey took the 2nd place, and took Kikai, a white and rich girl, and established a relationship with the old businessman. It can be said that the future is bright. To everyone's surprise, Tank did not take advantage of the game, but returned to the village to open a school. "My family is poor. When I was a child, I relied on villagers to fund my schooling. Now that I have grown up and have the ability, I want to change the fate of the children in the village." At that time, Tank smiled like a child, full of sunshine and warmth. They are all brothers, and Ye Chen wants to share the meal with Tank, but Tank has his own ideals, and he can't say much. Nowadays, Tank's school seems to be running well, and he even kidnapped a kitten to be his virtuous wife, which is enviable. Fatty is still struggling in the game. He is a young rich 2nd generation, so the brothers are not worried about him. The only thing I'm worried about is that this kid is still so fat that he can't even find a girlfriend. Every time Ye Chen and others meet him, they can't help but tease him kindly. "It's been 5 years, brothers. I feel relieved to see you having a good time. I heard that Dream World now has a level cap and an alien map. Universe 11? If we have time, let's team up and play some games together." Ye Chen chuckled, raised his glass and said, "Come on, let's go first. Don't just eat the food. Leave some for me." Amid cheerful laughter, the brothers toasted together. Yuchen had just finished a glass of wine when his cell phone rang. Yuchen answered a phone call, stood up with a face filled with joy and said, "My wife is going to give birth. Brothers, I'm going to leave first. You guys eat slowly. Pay the bill." I scolded the neighbor and promised you a treat. Amid laughter and curses, Yuchen rushed straight to the hospital. In the delivery room, Yoon Chiener was lying on the hospital bed with a big belly, a layer of sweat on her beautiful face. Yechen and Xiaoro were accompanying her, and there was also a little carrot head about 3 years old. He stretched out his tender white hands and pressed them on the quilt, looking longingly at Yoon Chiener's swollen belly. With big eyes, delicate skin, red lips and white teeth, and a watermelon head, she is as beautiful as a doll. This is the son of Yechen and Xiaoro. His name is Yeying. He has inherited the excellent genes of Yechen and Xiaoro. He is so handsome that he is hugged and kissed by his elders every day. Shadow, what toys do you think the second mother is hiding in her belly? Yuchen squatted down, patted his son's butt, and asked with a smile. Xiaoro and Yoon Chiener were both amused. Yeying also smiled, her big eyes curved into beautiful crescent moons, full of agility and cuteness. "Dad, you lied to me. There are Ying's younger brothers and sisters in the second mother's belly," Yeying chuckled. Since Yuchen quit the game and lived a happy life, Xiaohe left without saying goodbye and gradually faded out of Yuchen's sight. Everything is like a dream. In order to commemorate it, Yechen named his son Yeying. Every time he saw the little carrot head Yeying, Yechen would be happy from the bottom of his heart. "Then do you want a younger brother or a younger sister?" Yechen asked with a smile. "Well, it's all good. If it's a younger brother, I'll take him to play with me. If it's a younger sister, I'll protect her from being bullied by bad boys." The little carrot head chuckled, showing a mouth of teeth that had not yet grown in. www.xiaoshya.co. What a good boy, you are worthy of being my son, Yechen. Yechen smiled heartily, picked up Yeying, looked at that cute little face, and gave her a kiss. Complete book. The text ends here. I believe that after writing the speech, Shizun can also end it with a smile. This book was serialized on July 21, 2016. It took 8 months and 1.4 million words to finally come to this day. To be honest, this book has many imperfections and flaws. I didn't feel it when I was writing it, but I can't help but sigh when I look back, and this accumulated experience will definitely be used in the next book, the next one. In the book, Perfect Bloom. I would like to express my special thanks to one person, my editor La Xiao. Because of your patient guidance and help, 13 has reached this point and can clearly feel his progress. La Xiao editor, if we had not met, maybe I would have left this online writing industry that I love long ago. So I really appreciate you and look forward to our next collaboration. In addition to the editor, what I want to thank even more is of course you lovely readers. It is you who have accompanied me here, and I believe that there will still be many brothers and sisters who will accompany me on the journey of new books. Big Fried Chicken, Uncle Soy Sauce, Sanjiu, Alalong, Military Uniform, Destiny, Time Without Traces. Too many people to thank, too many people to list them all. I am afraid it will take hundreds of chapters, so please don't be surprised if you don't mention them. Today is April 8th, next I need to take a driver's license test and prepare a new book. I haven't passed the driver's license test, I heard it takes more than a month. So the new book may be released on June 1st, preliminary plan. So, brothers and sisters, see you on the new book.